Hey everybody, my name is Silver Knight. I am coming into the world of Guild Wars 2 from the perspective of a long-time World of Warcraft player. This series chronicles my journey through the world of Tyria, which I did actually kind of have to look up because I kind of didn't know the name of the world, but you know, the more you know. And all of its bumbling, falling off cliffs, and getting killed in incredibly stupid ways glory. I hope you enjoy. Vamp potato, alright. Also, lots of points to being able to basically make your name whatever the hell you want. So if you want to write your name Vampy Potato, you know, you can make it pretty much whatever the hell you want, and I can appreciate that. Hello. Hey, Mr. Vista. Where the fuck are you going? I don't think it's this. Cool, I didn't die. It's always nice when I don't die. But I love the ability in this game where I can just say, hey, what is this one thing off in the distance? And then that is literally the impetus for me playing for like 45 minutes because I saw something cool and I want to get to that spot to interact with it, just to even see if I can get to it. You know, that's the type of stuff that I think, honestly, I think a lot of MMOs are missing. The ability to just have that kind of, is this an object I can fuck with? Also, I see that Griffin is politely waiting for my cutscene to end. That's very kind of it. Yeah, game worlds are like going on a vacation. Yeah, exactly. It's just being able to enter a world and just chill. And he is trying so hard to attack me. How cute. I'm so glad I didn't accidentally just like yeet myself off the edge of a cliff. It's the little things in life. Because if I had the wrong weapon, I would have charged myself right into that death trap. And it would have made for a hilarious scene, but I would have absolutely deserved that death too. But, you know, there's something that I think a lot of just games in general, but especially MMOs, have kind of forgotten, where it's like these are supposed to be persistent worlds, things you go into, things you do things in, you know, where your time and your effort and your exploration is supposed to kind of have meaning or value, or failing that, it's supposed to feel like it. Even if it doesn't have meaning or value, it's supposed to feel like it has meaning and value. You know, do I get anything out of exploring all these vistas and taking a bunch of screenshots? No, but it's fucking cool looking, and it feels like I'm going on an adventure. Final Fantasy XI was, and probably still is, like fucking incredible for that. That game has so many zones, and they're all kind of different, and they're all varied, and at least until, you know, you could get to level 99 and essentially break the game, all of them are very dangerous because, you know, mobs at level in Final Fantasy XI can just spank you. Because the way, like, the only way I can describe the mob scaling in Final Fantasy XI is similar to something like Monster Hunter, right? Where you're fighting, or even like Terra or something, where, you know, Terra had the big-ass monsters, right? The BAMs and all that. Well, that's pretty much every mob in Final Fantasy XI. All of them are big-ass mobs. They're all designed to... Excuse me. While I do the shuffle. While I do the what the fuck is this shuffle. See that? No, I don't think so. Thank you. But the ability to just kind of like go on an adventure and not necessarily have to have the path laid out for you. Even just something as simple as like, hey, here's a thing, go get it. Do you really gain anything? I mean, there is a point to doing it, but, you know, sometimes just the adventure of what is that thing over there, it's a little neat and nice to have thing. It's not necessary, but it's cool to have. And the adventure of just going to do it for the sake of doing it is honestly something I really enjoy about MMOs, and it's something that I enjoy about MMOs that canonically quote-unquote suck. You know, that may be pay to win, that may be dying, that may not have a whole lot to offer. They still have a world to offer. They still have something to go and explore and something to have fun with, and, you know, lands to explore and things to see and just stuff to explore. And single-player games offer that as well. You know, but just the ability to just kind of walk around and be like, what the hell is that? And just go do it is the single biggest boon about anything open world. I fucking love that, dude. I can't be a tourist in real life. I may as well be a tourist in, you know, virtual ones, right? Like, who wouldn't want to just vibe to this, right? Hold on. Let me put the weapon away. Okay, he's not red. Good. I had the UI off and I'm like, okay, is he about to jump me? Is this about to become a bad time? I should turn the UI back on, but right now, it's just kind of nice to be able to, you know, just sit back and see this really cool, big, just sort of expansive world that's just out here. That's not something I would do all the time, but right now, like I said, and I've said a couple of times, it's nice to be a noob. I enjoy the feeling of being a noob, of not really necessarily knowing what's coming down the pike. You know, of what is the correct spec, what is the correct class, what is the most efficient... Excuse me, sir, I'm having a moment. What is the most efficient leveling path? You know, what are the best mobs to kill, because when they fuck up your vibe, sir... It's nice to not have it boiled down to a game. It's nice to just take a breather and take a chill pill. I mean, I will assuredly, at some point, get to the point where it becomes a numbers game because I want to maximize output. And, you know, like, if I do anything group content-wise, I tend to be more numbers-focused, where I want to maybe not, like, super ultra-optimized to have, like, the absolute best of the best everything, etc., etc. But I do want to make sure that I have, you know, the proper talent spec, you know, good enough gear to get by, try to have, you know, the better stats, etc., etc. Like, I will do research to make sure, because I don't want to be a detriment to a group, sort of thing. But for single-player content, like, man, I'm just trying to have fun. I don't even know where the hell I'm going, but this seems like this is going somewhere, so... Is this going somewhere? Don't tell me this isn't going somewhere. I see you over there shaking that ass. There's definitely something over here, though. Like, 100% there's something over here. Nope, they don't want me going up that mountain for sure. I'm alive and I didn't take damage. Hell yeah. They definitely don't want me on that. Okay, that's fine. Hello, Mr. Jotun dudes. Oh, there was something over there. Damn it, I was right. Oh, no, I was very wrong. I just didn't go down the path I'm supposed to go. I just ignored him and was like, I'm gonna go climb mountains again. Whee! But yeah, I have been super, super vibing to all of, like, the Norn, Shiver Peak, Winter Zones. These have just been so chill. Serene, I think, is the word I was looking for before. I kept wanting to say, like, desolate, and that's definitely not the word I'm looking for, but it's, like, very sort of serene. Where it's cold, it's quiet, you know, it's inhospitable, but it's also just very quiet. You know, lots of solitude and all that good stuff. And I like the fact that there can be such disparate zones where this feels like very, like I said, very quiet, lots of solitude, you know, pseudo-desolate, but not really. And then you also have, you know, the turnip people with their fucking techno pyramids and, you know, a city full of tree people that just magically showed up 25 years ago and it's like, surprise bitch, I'm alive now. And you're like, okay, well, welcome to the living. welcome to existence. It sucks. You really probably shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have. And then you also have, like, Zombie Hellland, which, you know, Undersea Hellland, which is also definitely a thing. I know that says Pine Sol. I kept looking at that and saying Veteran Pine Sol, and I'm like, yeah, sure as fuck is Veteran Pine Sol, isn't it? That's gonna kill the shit out of some germs right there. Having been in Texas, I think I've started to develop a stronger southern accent, and I don't know if I'm okay with it. Don't know exactly how I feel about it. I should be doing other things, but like I said, potentially advancing the story, but it's like, the story's not going anywhere. I would like to enjoy just the world as it is. Like, look at that. Like, that shit looks like a fucking oil painting, and I love it. I'm honestly really glad that I started playing this game as part of the video game tourism. I'm really, really glad. Because, I mean, I love me Final Fantasy XIV. I love Final Fantasy XIV. It is such a good game. And I've been saying since Legion that Final Fantasy XIV was a better WoW than WoW. And the handful of people that actually bother, like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, it's actually, like, a really good fucking game. It does all the things that WoW does, but it does it in a less bullshit way. Like, objectively less bullshit way. And I have been vindicated. Haha, suck it, nerds. Etc. I just wanted the onions, dude. I didn't want to kill you, just so you know. But, like, I love me Final Fantasy XIV, but there are times where it's just, I don't... It's a lot to go through, right? Like, it's a lot... It's very front-loaded. You know, it's very kind of a... I mean, it's literally a JRPG, so it's designed to be story-heavy, which is fine. I mean, it's a good story. But there's also a point where it's like, I'm, like, mentally and emotionally exhausted. I don't have time for story. You know, it's one of those, like, I really need to sit down and be invested sort of things, where it's like, when I get home from work, I'm like, man, I just want to run around and kill shit. And Final Fantasy XIV, until you get to the point where you open up other things, it doesn't necessarily seem like you can do that, but it's not necessarily playing to that game's strengths, because that game's strength is really getting immersed into the world and in the story and the lore and all that kind of stuff. Which, I mean, same thing as this, like getting immersed in the world and all that. But that one is very, like I said, it's much heavier, where it's more based upon characters and story and really honing in. It's like, how am I gonna word this? How am I trying to compare this? It would be like watching... It's like watching, like, a mystery versus a thriller. You know, if you're watching, you know, a thriller, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things you need to pay attention to, or what have you. But it's more about the feeling. It's evoking, like, a thriller evokes a certain feeling. Usually it's fear, but it evokes a certain feeling, a sense of urgency, a sense of, like, it evokes a feeling. Whereas, like, if you're watching a mystery movie, it's a mystery, right? Like, it's pieces to a puzzle, and you're being sort of tasked to actively engage in that story in such a way that you can solve the mystery, and, like, you're being asked to sort of follow the story so you can understand the mystery. Whereas a thriller, it's more about emotions. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like, Final Fantasy XIV is a really good story, but it asks you to be an active participant in the story, in the world, sort of thing. Whereas Guild Wars 2. Hey, cool. You know, Final Fantasy XIV kind of asks you to be an active participant in the story in order to get you into the world, whereas Guild Wars 2 is just like, here's the world, fucking do what you want. If you want to get invested with the story, cool. If you just want to run around and kill shit, cool. Like, you do whatever the fuck you want. Here is the world, have fun in it. Final Fantasy XIV is what happens when you have developers that actually give a crap about their game. Yeah, exactly. Like, Final Fantasy XIV is a fantastic game, and I have all the respect and love in the world for Yoshi P for taking the game, like, taking the absolute just unabated shit show that he had on his hands and actually making something workable out of it. I mean, there are a lot of people who actually liked 1.0. Go with me here. Who actually liked 1.0 that kind of didn't like 2.0 because they thought it was too WoW-like. And having played 1.0, yeah, like he basically took a lot of the stuff that was in Final Fantasy XIV assets and modeled a lot of the basic gameplay systems off of World of Warcraft. Why? Because it fucking works. You know, the very basic systems that World of Warcraft basically either stole or modeled to make the base of their game, they basically just direct ported over to WoW because it works. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's streamlined, it's to the point. You can jump in the game and you can kind of understand what it is that you're doing and why. And then they took that base model of how the game is supposed to be played and then put a JRPG around it and then said, oh yeah, by the way, it's an online game. Like, it's a fantastic game. You know, right now I'm kind of preferring Guild Wars 2 just because Guild Wars 2 is also a fantastic game that took the same kind of model of World of Warcraft, but tweaked it in the opposite direction. You know, where they took the model of WoW and then put a JRPG, you know, made it into a JRPG sort of deal. You know, this took kind of like the basic model of WoW and turned it into like a better vanilla WoW, if that makes sense. Because vanilla WoW was all about Azeroth being the world, that being the main character, that being, you know, the central element. You know, Azeroth was the thing you were exploring. That was what you wanted to understand, was being in the world of Warcraft. And Guild Wars 2 has taken that concept and refined that concept where this game is about this world of Tyria. Your characters are, you know, your character plays a big part. You know, all of it has these cast of characters, it has these events, it has these story elements that are happening, but the main character of the game is the world. You were involved in a world, and whether you choose to be actively involved in the story or whether you choose to just be a fucking crafter in Tree Town doing whatever, it doesn't matter because the world is the main character and you're still a part of it. Whether you're a major player or a minor player, you're still a player in the world's story, if that makes sense. And right now, between the two, and again, this is not me dissing Final Fantasy XIV. I fucking love that game. But right now, for where I'm at, like, in my headspace right now, the ability to just turn my brain off, run around, kill shit, cut down some trees, pick some leaves, you know, mine some ore, and just sort of get immersed into a world without really being asked to get involved in a drama sort of thing is definitely preferable to the last, like, few shreds of sanity that I am desperately holding on to. Really? You're gonna play this shit on me? Look, man. Look, bro. I need you to knock the fuck off because I need this waypoint, please. Oh, cool. Never mind. Yay. Thank you, game. Thank you, game, for agreeing. Acquiescing to my request. I appreciate that. Did I hear about the new things they're working on? I have not. No, I've been excuse me, I just ate lunch, so, like, it's coming back to say hi. Heartburn is the gift that keeps on giving. But no, I have been very, very out of the loop the past few weeks about kind of everything. Like, I know WoW had a patch that released. I'm like, cool, fine, whatever. Water you can walk on. Like, I've actually heard, because from my roomie who plays WoW super casually, that she actually really enjoys it. It's really pretty, it's really chill. Kind of has a Timeless Isle kind of vibe to it. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, more power to it. Like, in all sincerity, I'm like, you know what? Like, good on WoW. You know, if they can do right by their customers and by their players, and shit, by their people that are there, that are working there, then, like, by all means, I am all smiles. Like, go for it. For the love of God, please do right by your customer base and by just the human beings that you are interacting with. It's just not something I'm super into right now. I also know that apparently, like, every MMO in existence has something that's launching this month. Like, I know Final Fantasy XIV, I think, has its patch releasing. Guild Wars 2 has its expansion releasing. ESO has an expansion that's releasing. SWTOR has an expansion that's releasing or has already released. What am I examining? Doors are locked. Okay, you know what? Points been made. Oh, there's shit in here. Too much brain power. I'll go back to that later. Most suggestions proved. Oh, so basically they're basically adding reshade and G-shade into the options just outright, which is good. Like that's fantastic. Like Final Fantasy XIV looks gorgeous, but it is very flat. Like you can tell it was made in, you can tell that they redid everything in their engine in like, you know, 2012, 2013, because a lot of the modern shading stuff that you see, a lot of the post-processing effects just kind of aren't there. You know, where it does come across kind of flat, so being able to have those post-processing effects without needing something like reshade is cool. I mean, I'm still going to use reshade because I think reshade is very pretty and it makes me happy. Like, word up. Word up to my reshade homies. I know it doesn't necessarily look like a lot, but this is with it off and this is with it on. It may not necessarily seem like it's adding a whole lot, but to me, I think it adds a lot more pop to what I'm seeing, sort of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of MMO stuff. Like, there's so much shit coming down the pike. Like, Lost Ark just released. I thought there was another MMO that was getting a release as well this month, and I can't remember what it is. But, like, yeah, there's, like, 7 MMOs. There's also a whole bunch of single-player games that are coming out. Like, I know it's a really, really jam-packed month, and meanwhile, I'm just over off in Workland trying to fucking hold on and not jump a counter and, like, shank somebody because customers. Oh, it's good times, man. It is good times. They want to gradually expand the trust system so players will have the option, keyword there, of playing solo. Well, that's cool. Oh, so to expand the trust option so that way they don't necessarily have to do group dungeons to do the story content, I'm guessing. Because that's been like the one thing that I've been hearing I was kind of, maybe not iffy about. Like, it doesn't necessarily bother me if I have to do the occasional group dungeon. Especially in Final Fantasy XIV, because the people there tend to be pretty nice. Like, in WoW, I'm like, ugh, like, okay, I can try to do this once, but please, like, you know, I want to make a sex joke of some kind where it's just like, if I go into a WoW dungeon to complete a story quest, I'm just like, make it quick and don't make eye contact. Just don't make eye contact, don't anybody say anything, just make it quick and get it over with. But I can see why there are some people who are like hardcore soloists who absolutely under no circumstances really want to be put in with randoms just because of the anxiety. And I can get it, because there are people who are going like, well, why would you play an MMO if you're not going to play with people? Because it's nice to be in a persistent world and see other people milling about. Like there's a sense of scale in an MMO, especially a populated MMO, that a single player game just cannot match. It just can't, because no matter how good a single player game is, no matter how immersive it is, at the end of the day, every NPC in there is still scripted. You know, you're going to play in an MMO, you see real players interacting, and you know those are real players interacting. And if, you know, there's literally any moderation going on in the game whatsoever, people tend not to be complete and total assholes 100% of the time. WoW. Vanilla WoW. Fucking Barons chat. I'm looking at you, WoW. I did not forget. Okay? Chuck Norris jokes freaking all the way across the sky. I'm on to you. But what I'm saying is there's a sense of community, even if like that's just a meme nowadays. There's a sense of community in MMOs that can't be matched in a single player game. So even if you don't really want to interact with people in a dungeon setting, especially random people in a dungeon setting, because that can be super anxiety inducing, you know, you still want to be able to interact in that world. And especially for something like Final Fantasy XIV, where literally everything is gated by story. If you do not progress with the story, you really can't, like, you can get farther in the game. Like, you can unlock jobs and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, the main story quest, so much is gated behind it. I mean, you know, Final Fantasy XIV's MSQ is literally just like the world's longest attunement quest. So much is gated behind it that you can't really experience a lot of, I mean, not a lot of the game, but there's a fair amount of the game that's blocked off if you don't continue on with the story. So I understand leaving that as an option. So I'm glad that they're trying to gradually make that an option for people. You know, hopefully without making it, like, super overpowered. Exactly, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like having social anxiety, where just the idea of getting into a group, especially with randoms, if you don't know what they're going to do, if you get one person that's going to be like a total dickbag, then you're just like, well, I am never doing a dungeon group in this game ever again, and chances are, like, there's a decent, like, a non-zero chance that somebody who is that there's just like, I'm going to quit the game. Like, the experience for me has now been irrevocably ruined. I cannot log back onto this character without thinking about this person being a dickbag to me, and I can't enjoy it anymore. Like, I get it. Like, I've been there. I mean, I have deleted characters in WoW. Granted, they were alts or whatever, but I've deleted characters in WoW where I was leveling, and it was just like, I had such a bad experience in a random dungeon healing, because of course I fucking did, where I was just like, I would log into that character and I would try to, you know, I would just hover over the dungeon queue, and I'm just like, I don't want to fucking do this, and I don't want to solo level. Like, I made this character to, you know, to level through healing dungeons, and I'm just like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore, and then I just delete the character. Like, I don't, like, ugh. Like, you know, it just gunks up the whole experience, sort of thing. So I'm glad that they're making that an option. Now, I have had one or two dickweeds show up when I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV. Admitted, like, I'm hardly an expert, you know, but I've only seen it happen once or twice. But even those once or twice, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, you know, you want to shit on a healer for not DPSing in, like, a level, like, I understand that Final Fantasy XIV, it's kind of expected that healers, when they're not healing, are doing DPS to help out with the rage timers, yada yada yada, and all that good stuff. That's a cool fucking story and all, but also, like, it's a fucking level 30 dungeon. It's fine. This person has probably never healed before. Like, don't be a passive aggressive asshole and then basically call them trash, and then, you know, shit talk them after they leave. By the way, I reported that person, so hopefully they got suspended. If Final Fantasy XIV's GM's response, if anything, like I've seen, like, from what I've heard, Final Fantasy XIV has, like, a negative, not even a 0 tolerance policy. They have, like, a fucking negative 50 tolerance policy for people being assholes in their games. Like, they will ban fucking quick. Be like, you're being an asshole, gone. We don't care. You're being an asshole. You screwed up this person's experience. You were gone. You are gone. You know? And it's honestly, I desperately wish WoW had done something like that. But then again, that was Blizzard's culture. I mean, apparently inside and outside the game, where it was just like, we don't give a shit. You're a paying customer. Do whatever the fuck you want. You want to troll people? Lol, 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 lol. That's fun. You know, funny internet culture stuff. You know, like, oh, it's fun. You know, that's part of the community experience. Like, it's community experience to be like a fucking sociopath. Like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. You know, Blizzard always took a very, like, non-interventionist policy in their customer service. And did I literally just walk into a landmine? I totally did. All right. Talk about non-interventionist. Really, sir? Oh yeah, I'm gonna actually have to play the game now, aren't I? But Blizzard always took a very, like, non-interventionist policy in a lot of their stuff. I think, honestly, to the community's detriment, because it sucks that you kind of have to police your player base. But if they're gonna act like fucking 10-year-old spurgs and douche-canoes and something like that, they probably should be suspended or permabanned, because that just completely ruins the experience for people who would otherwise be paying customers. If your one person is driving away 100 people, that one person probably has to go. And I'm saying this as somebody who has definitely spurred out, you know, on a couple of occasions in WoW. I mean, my ass got permabanned on the WoW forums. And I mean, I'm not even saying that it was like, you know, like, oh man, fucking Blizzard. No, I absolutely deserved it. I 100% deserved to get permabanned because I was being a douche canoe. Because I was getting mad over something and I was quoting somebody. I think what it was that somebody managed to get past the profanity filter by using, like, the little hypertext, whatever it is. And I quoted them, and I had done that a few times by that point. And they were basically just like, your former account is permabanned. And then and honestly, I know this is going to sound weird. Me getting permabanned from WoW's forums has probably made me, like, a better, more rational, like, just less angry person in general. So, you know, like, Thanks, Blizzard customer service. Thank you for perma banning me from the forums because it made me a happier person. And I'm not even joking when I say that. It legitimately, I think, made me a happier person to just not be around a bunch of, well, toxic douche canoes. And I was like, oh, you mean I don't? You mean that's not how everybody acts? That's not how, oh. Is this what this feels like? Is this what hope feels like? Oh, it is such a foreign feeling, this happiness. What is this you speak of? Yeah, I mean, 100%, if you ever do anything group-related, I would almost always recommend joining a guild. I mean, like, some of the things I always enjoyed, one of the reasons I always enjoyed pugging so much, especially in WoW back in the day, was that I enjoyed the challenge. And that sounds probably, like, super elitist, but I enjoyed the challenge of playing with people I didn't know and trying to figure out what their class was, what their spec was, what their gear and their capabilities were, like, you know, what their strengths and their weaknesses were, and playing to that and seeing how I can adapt to how everybody else plays to maximize my abilities. You know what I mean? Like, how well can I play when paired with these other people? It wasn't necessarily about my own skill, it was about how can I adapt to support my group and as best as I possibly can, sort of deal. That's what I enjoyed about pugging. You know, and that's fine so long as you don't read the chat a lot of the time. But honestly, I mean, at this point, WoW's community, like, and this almost sounds hyperbolic because there are plenty of people who play WoW that are like super nice people, that are legitimately good, helpful, kind, friendly people who just want to play the fucking game. They just want to play their game and play their classes and get their transmog or whatever and just, you know, not be a douchebag to people. But I think at this point, the reputation of WoW, that it's kind of, what am I trying to say? It's like the mental asylum is run, you know, is run by the inmates sort of thing, where it's like it's so overrun by the min-maxer mentality. And it's definitely not helped by the developers being min-maxers themselves. They definitely do not. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's down here. Shit. Here I was trying to make it difficult for myself. You know, it's been so taken over by the min-maxer mentality that the idea of just doing shit because it's fun is like a foreign concept to them. Which is why, like, honestly, the revamp for Shadowlands, the leveling, it's like the best fucking leveling they've had in years. Like 1 to 50 actually feels really fun and really meaningful, and I can go back to the past content and there's really not any restrictions. And the best part about it is that there's no real restrictions. I could just, you know, provided I have one level 50, I can go back and do whatever fucking content I want in pretty much whatever order I want, kind of whatever, you know, whichever way I want. I mean, there are some, like, you know, certain zones are kind of higher level than others, etc. But generally speaking, I can just kind of do what I want when I want, and I don't have to worry that much. I don't have to think too much about the logistics of how to make it work. I can just fucking do it. You know, but once you hit level 50, and especially once you hit endgame, all of that fucking changes. And it's like one of the worst bait and switches of all time, because you get this game that seems really chill and seems really fun, and it's sort of like, yeah, here's fun, and it's a surprise, here's endgame. Here's just an entire list of things that you have to do in order to get ready for, you know, to maximize your gameplay. Do you really have to do that? No. But if you want to join a group, you know, and not be laughed out, you know, you kind of have to do these things. And it's not, and nobody wants to do them. Nobody wants to do this. But they feel like they are pressured to do it because this is a power gain, and in order to be accepted in a group, you have to be searching for whatever power gains you have to get, because that's the way Blizzard develops the game. It's everything is vertical, everything is bigger numbers, everything is up, 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 up. Instead of expanding out, they're actually, you know, cutting the wings off the golden goose to stretch out the neck to try and get a little bit more fucking longevity out of it or whatever. That's a weird. Okay, that analogy didn't really work, but hopefully you know what I'm saying, is that they're going so vertical that the whole fucking Jenga tower is starting to topple over. There we go. That's a better analogy. Well, yeah, there's metagamers that do that, but I mean, there are metagamers like that in literally every game, and just literally every facet of life. But the metagamers at this point, unfortunately, are kind of like running certain aspects of the company. And like, I'm sure like Ina Hazakostas and all them, I'm sure that they're decent people, and I'm willing to bet, like I never met the guy, right? But I'm willing to bet that after becoming like the lead, whatever the fuck he is, like the lead developer, whatever, the system designer, whatever he is, I'm willing to bet that him seeing the numbers that he's seen, because he seems to be a very numbers-driven guy, I'm willing to bet that it's probably changed his thought process on certain things more than if he had just been a raid designer, because it's sort of like, yeah, there are literally people who play purely for solo content. There are people who could not give less of a fuck about any group content whatsoever. They just want to have fun in the game. Now, granted, I'm one of those people, but I'm also one of those people because, you know, group content became a chore and a grind, and it just wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to do. There was no deterministic way to do anything. Everything was RNG, everything was a grind, and I'm like, why am I spending my time doing this when I could just be like farming transmog or whatever? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I don't know if WoW can quote unquote be saved. I think at this point WoW is kind of going to go the way, and is already going the way of EverQuest, where you're going to have your hardcore people who will continue to play it because they enjoy it, because it's what they know, it's what they do, you know, and it's entirely possible that these developers or other ones can salvage it to a point to where it can be a better version of the game than what it is currently, but I don't know if there is a point where it will, it's never going to get back to the way it was. You know, unfortunately at this point there's too much that changed. They've burned too much goodwill, they've burned too many people. And too many people have too many, you know, too many people have their I quit moments where they're like, you know what, this has tainted my view of this game forever. And even if I go back to this game and I enjoy it and I love it, I will never forget that I quit moment. And it's never going to be the same. You know what I mean? You know, if you break a teapot, you know, you can glue it back together and it can hold, you know, sorry, try not to die. To level 48 mobs is a level 80, but that's neither here nor there. You know, if you break a teapot, you know, you can glue it back together. You know, you can paint it, you can sand it, you can buff it, you can do 1,000 different things to make it look and act exactly as it did before, but it's never going to be the same as it did before because it was broken once. And once it's been broken once, you can't magically fix that and put that back together. It's always going to be patched and not broken or fixed. You know what I mean? It's going to be fixed, but it's never going to be whole, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, I kind of basically do the same thing at this point. I've got a bunch of extracurricular stuff. How the fuck? Oh, I think I see where I go. Maybe. But, I still have a bunch of that kind of stuff ready to go because are you fucking kidding me right now? You were not asking me to do this. Nope. Okay, thank God. Okay, you were not asking me to pull some Indiana Jones bullshit. Also, that is just straight up coming through the mountain. Oh no. No, 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 no. You get, no. You stop that right now. Why is dredge stuff a pain in the ass? Just perpetually a pain in the ass. I walked into another landmine. That's unfortunate. Alright, anyone want to take any bets on how long it'll be before I accidentally kill myself on a landmine? Oh yeah, this was the thing I was running on, and then I was like, what the hell is this for? I don't know. Nope, can't stand on that. Now, there is a way up to this. I may or may not find it. Might also be in this spot, but this is too much brain power. We're just going to keep running around. I'll come back to that later. This Elysium. Elysium was kind of like, eh. See, I did Nostalrius. I actually was on Nostalrius, and I was on Chronos. Like, shit, I did, like, the old school ones before it became a big thing. Like, I was on freaking Rebirth WoW. I was on Valkyrie WoW. Both of which, like, you know, a good population day was, like, 100 people across the entire server. Like, 150, 200 people logged on was, like, like, holy shit, boys, like, everybody's on right now. We can actually run a single AV. You know, I was old school with it. And in fact, I think those characters are still on some server somewhere. Both of those servers got shut down and into something else, and I want to say one of them actually was Elysium. I think the character that I had on Valkyrie WoW ended up getting sucked into Elysium. And my Nostalria's character, when it's shut down, ended up going to... Was it Chronos? I don't know. Whatever when Nostalria is shut down, they did like free character transfers or whatever to some other server. Maybe that was Elysium too. I don't know. I just remember both of those characters got moved. Rebirth ended up on, I think, True WoW, I think it was. Something like that. But yeah, I have had my run-in of the private offerings. I still have my character on Ascension WoW. Ascension WoW is still super fun. It's just one of those, like, I don't feel like... And, like, I've been playing Turtle WoW every so often. Okay, so yeah, Elysium took my Nostalria's characters. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, it was Valkyrie WoW that was taken by... Valkyrie WoW was taken by, I think, Elysium. I think Valkyrie was taken by Elysium, too. Like, I remember Valkyrie WoW being a part of something, getting, like, slurped into something else because it ended up being turned into something else. I don't know. I don't know. The characters are floating around somewhere. Like, one of them was a level 48 druid. Balanced druid, no less. And the one that was on Nostalrius ended up on Elysium was like a level 38 or something like that. Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I enjoy WoW. But it's like, at this point, WoW is kind of the thing where it's like, when I'm feeling it, I'll log in and I'll play it for a little bit and I'll get, you know, all the warm, you know, brain juices flowing. Usually when I'm super stressed out is when I tend to want to play it. Because that's just, I don't know. Like when I'm stressed out, it's just something nice and familiar. And something I don't have to think that hard about. Okay, what the hell am I missing here? Hey buddy, see you over there. Okay, so... Just gonna boop you right there. Aw, they did a +4. That kind of sucks, but, I mean, the way why did the... Okay, that music got really intense really quick, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? But, yeah, no, I actually really enjoy Turtle WoW. Turtle WoW is honestly the thing that I've been playing on and off when I want my WoW lore fix. You know, when I think about how bad WoW's lore currently is, and I need, you know, I need to play some fanfic to make my heart feel better. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever... Like, now I understand how comic book fans feel, where it's like, this run of comics has absolutely destroyed your characters, so in solace, you know, you go into, like, you know, fanfiction.net, and you read a whole bunch of fanfic on the... you know, on the run that got ruined, being like how it should have actually happened, and just be like, this is now my headcanon, and this is the reality I choose to accept, and not the bullshit that they have given me. That is what Turtle WoW is to me. That is what Turtle WoW currently is to me. It's this is how the WoW story should have gone, and not what just actual steaming hot trash we actually got. Excuse me, sir? Don't tell me I ran out of... I totally ran out of those. I'm doing the head shake of no again. This makes me sad. Okay, well, hang on. Back to town we go, for starters. That's good, that's good. But yeah, I like what Turtle WoW has. Are we... I just want... Dude, I just want the log cutters. Whatever the fuck you call those things. Excuse me, Mr. Dredge. You were getting in the way of my logging axes. There we go. That's the word. Logging cutters. Axes. Also, ow. You guys are getting in my way of being able to chop wood. And this makes me very unhappy. This makes me an unhappy SK. But yeah, no, I'm liking Turtle WoW. The only thing that makes me a little bit sad about Turtle WoW is that I really wish that... Hello? Did I? Hello? What? I think my earpieces just died because I can't hear anything anymore. Okay. So, back in these go. If I can get my fingers to work. There it goes. Okay. So, I think my earpiece just died. Because I'm like, all of a sudden everything just turned off and I'm like, did I just go deaf? I don't understand what happened. The only thing that bugs me about Turtle WoW at the moment is that I wish there was a way to add, like, one of those... It's something you see a lot where you can add, like, custom patches to like, give the updated HD character models. And unfortunately, because that's all custom content, you can't, because it will bug the game out and cause it to crash. Like, it'll work for some, but it definitely does not work for others. And it can have some weird effects, and I'm just like, I really... No, you fuckers. Don't you dare. I just want the log cutters, man. I know that they're called axes. I just want the log cutters. That's now going to be a meme for me, because apparently that's how I roll. You don't have log cutters.
Until next time.
Knowledge is the
thank God.
treasure.
Do you hear that?
Give me. That's not even like the really good ones. I don't even care.
Rumbling.
It's the dredge. Battle stations.
No, not battle stations. Y'all on your own. Good luck. Have fun. Goodbye. I just want to look at the map. Yeah.